Episode 390. The character who descended right after one autumn leaf was, of course, Su Mucheng's Dancing Rain. Dancing Rain's heavy cannon rested on her shoulder, her long hair whipping wildly in the wind. She's such a gentle soul, yet she chose a heavy-hitting, heavyweight character. Yi Shu thought to himself, a smile creeping onto his face.
What are you laughing at?
Shen Guo caught sight of Ye Shu's smile. She realized she'd gotten way too into it, startling several other spectators who were now looking her way. Seeing Yi Shu's smile again, she suddenly wondered, hesitating, was he laughing at her?
It's nothing. Dancing Rain.
Yi Shu also shouted out and gave a few random half-hearted claps, which actually helped Shen Guo draw some of the aggro. Many people stopped looking at Shen Guo and turned their attention to Ye Shu.
Right? That's the whole point of being here live, to get swept up in the atmosphere.
Shen Guo was quite pleased with Ye Shu's performance. She didn't care if his enthusiasm was a bit over the top, and turned to Tang Ru.
What do you think, Xiao Tang?
I don't know. I don't recognize any of them.
Tang Ru ducked her head, pretending she didn't know the two people beside her.
Come on, let me introduce you.
Shen Guo, however, was brimming with enthusiasm and began introducing the figures in the light columns to Tang Ru. She had known who these 24 people were for a long time. So, if you can identify the character's class, you've pretty much got it figured out. One by one he pointed them out, and he didn't get a single one wrong. Finally, the 23rd character passed by. But as the last one was about to descend, its drop was delayed by a few moments. That tiny pause perfectly built up the anticipation, as if the first 23 were just foot soldiers clearing the way, and this one was the general everyone had been waiting for. This 24th character was, of course, deliberately placed last by Samsara Club, using their host's advantage to build up this very anticipation. And this character was, of course, Samsara's ace, the sharpshooter known as the Gun King, wielded by Zhou Zekai, Cloud Piercer. Although Chen Guo was a supporter of Excellent Era, she held no particular dislike for Zhou Zekai or his character. She offered a light round of applause. But this was Samsara's home turf. Which team had the most fans here? That much was obvious. Cloud Piercer's grand entrance sent the stadium into an uproar, with screams and applause that were absolutely deafening. Those few who had earlier turned back to sneer at Shen Guo and Ye Shu had now completely lost their composure, clearly die-hard fans of Samsara. The entire arena was utterly silent, save for the roar of the crowd. As Cloud Piercer landed, a flash of light illuminated the 24 all-star characters now towering over the competition stage. The crowd's cheers grew to a fever pitch, and then the 24 characters, who had until now only been striking poses, suddenly sprang to life. They ran, attacked, dodged, and leaped. All 24 characters moved as if they were alive, performing the basic actions you'd only see in a game. The crowd gasped in astonishment. They had thought these were just holographic projections, but now it seemed, were these real people performing cosplay? After striking their respective poses, the light beams suddenly cut out all at once. The arena plunged into darkness, and the audience's gasps faded into the ensuing quiet. Everyone held their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Then another beam of light shot down, illuminating a character on the stage. It was the very first of the 24 to descend from the sky, last year's champion, Team Tiny Herb's captain Wang Jihui's witch, Wang Buliuxing. The audience was puzzled. What was the point of singling out another character? On the field, Wang Buliuxing mounted his broom and soared into the air. The character glanced back mid-flight, flicking his wrist to send something flying. A beam of light followed its trajectory, and everyone saw it, a glowing crimson potion bottle. Players familiar with the witch class recognized it instantly, the skill Lava Flask. In the deathly silent arena, the sound of the lava flask shattering on the ground was unnaturally clear, just like in the game. Then, with a resounding boom, the molten flask shattered, and the arena floor was instantly engulfed in a churning sea of fire. While the audience was still stunned, Wang Buliuxing raised his hand and flicked it. A cloud-like puff of white mist was flung into the air, blossoming like a cluster of clouds. Then, blue raindrops began to fall. The crowd instantly recognized it. This was another witch skill, acid rain. Wang Buliu then demonstrated several more skills, each one's dazzling light and shadow effects perfectly mirroring the game. The stunned audience finally snapped out of it. They'd suspected the characters were real people in costume, but these skill effects clearly proved it was just holographic projection. Screams and applause erupted through the stadium once more. The pillar of light around Wang Buliuxing faded, and he vanished into the darkness. Immediately, a second character was illuminated, performing a similar showcase of skills, their effects perfectly mirroring the game. And so, after each of the 24 characters had their moment in the spotlight, the audience was already buzzing with anticipation for what came next. Yes, the next act is the battle. So far, it's just been individual showcases. But what would it look like if they used holographic projection technology for actual combat? The organizers truly didn't disappoint the audience. Right after that individual showcase, they immediately began pitting combatants against each other, one pair at a time. 1-on-1, 2-on-2, escalating all the way to a massive 12-on-12 free-for-all. Skills from all the characters clashed together in the melee. The silver weapons in the hands of the top-tier gods gleamed brilliantly. What was unfolding before the audience's eyes was a spectacle far beyond anything they'd ever seen in-game or on a stream. Each character seemed to be standing right there before them, far more vivid than anything they'd ever seen in the game. And in that chaotic, sprawling melee, no one was paying attention to the technical skill involved. They were simply captivated by the sheer spectacle of the fight. They wished this battle would never end. However, these 24 avatars represent the 24 all-star players. For the opening ceremony's design, it wouldn't be appropriate to show a clear winner or loser. After letting the audience enjoy this dazzling holographic display, Samsara's ace character, Cloud Piercer, suddenly leaped into the air. Like a shooting star, he shot upward toward the top of the arena with a whoosh. Then, as if in pursuit, the other characters transformed into shooting stars and chased after him in unison. All 24 characters soared to the top of the hall and exploded with a thunderous boom, cascading down like a shower of fireworks. The audience reached out to touch them, finally confirming they weren't real objects. Then, all the lights in the arena suddenly blazed to life. The massive broadcast screens circling overhead showed the real fireworks rising outside, and the host's voice finally rang out.
Dear audience, the annual All-Star Weekend is now officially underway.